Yeah, 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 come and take a look at the snow. Bright white as far as your eyesight goes. Come and take a look at the fields of snow. I'll just get my coat, then we're good to go. Come and take a look at the lake. Let's have a quick skate before it gets late. Come and take a look at the frozen lake. Put your clothes on, mate, don't make that mistake.
Greetings, holiday shoppers. There are now 313 shopping days left until Christmas, and you know what that means. It's time for another episode of Christmas Creeps, your one-stop shop for holiday movies and TV shows all year round. My name is Joseph Wade. I will be your host for this evening. Here with me tonight are my co-hosts, Johnny Five, the human robot.
Hello.
Hello, John. How have you been?
Oh, yeah.
Like in general or just specifically?
Specifically, yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. And Mr. Bradford is here as well. Brad.
God bless us, everybody.
Isn't it everyone?
Yes, that's the joke.
And also joining us once again after a long hiatus is Karen Five is back as well. Karen, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, nerds?
Not much. What's going on with you?
Oh, not much. Just got to relive a piece of my childhood that I haven't seen since I was a kid.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild tonight. So tonight on the show, we are discussing something that I think we all have some kind of fond memory of. We're going back to the Muppets once again, folks, to discuss the 1992 feature film, The Muppet Christmas Carol. I don't think I have to ask what everyone's first thoughts are on this because, well, you know what? I'm going to because it's a podcast and we need content. So who would like to lead us off tonight?
I'm going to volunteer Karen because she seems to have the biggest connection to this.
So, for some background, this was I don't know if other families were like this, but when you were a kid in the early 90s or whatever, and you had just a handful of VHS tapes, maybe a couple Disney movies and maybe one or two other straight to video whatever things. I had one that was Pocahontas or some shit. Anyway, this was one of the handful of VHSs that I had, and it was in heavy rotation when I was a child.
Yes. So, similar situation in our household, just not this film.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, so this was I have fond memories of in the what was basically our den in our house, watching this on the big TV, and just chilling, being a kid, I guess.
Let me ask, not during Christmas? Definitely?
Oh, definitely okay. Not during Christmas. Yeah, all year round.
Cool.
Apparently I was getting ready to be a Christmas creep.
Yes, you're trained.
You got to teach them early.
Exactly. Train them up.
Exactly, yeah. Brad, are you want to jump in here?
Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
For me, this film occupies this very strange gray area where I'm not sure if I'd actually seen it before or not, at least in full. I feel like I've definitely seen it, but I really don't know. This seems like the sort of thing I would have watched as a kid, and maybe I wouldn't remember that much about it, but I feel like I definitely watched this as a kid, but I just don't remember anything. I don't know. It's kind of Schrodinger's movie.
It's been lost to the mists of time.
Yes.
This is one that alcohol has washed away, I think.
Oh man, that's sad. J-Man, what about you?
The only thing I've seen this before, I must have caught it on TV at some point. I don't know, because the only thing I've seen of it is the Marley scene.
Huh.
That whole song, and that's the only thing I've seen of it. I don't know if I caught it on just on TV or something.
It's interesting that you guys say all of these things because my experience with this is a little bit of all of them.
Ooh.
I only really came to this one fairly recently in the last couple of years. And up until that point, the only thing that I really remembered was the Marley song, and that I didn't like the Marley song at all.
Oh, no.
So then going into this as an adult, I'm like, okay, this is going to be more dumb songs like that. And no, that's not the case at all. Everything except the Marley scene, I love to death.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So We'll get into that in due time. But first of all, friends, crack one open if you got it. I don't have a can tonight, so
Smoke them if you got them.
that should have been a bottle cap hitting the ground. I don't know if that caught it on the recording or not. But,
I got a little, psst, but I didn't get a cap.
Okay. But tonight, friends, I dug deep into the bottom of my refrigerator for this one. This is a Jack Daniel's Blackjack Cola. I don't even know where we got this or why it showed up in our house, but it's here now.
Super Bowl 2017.
That would not surprise me. Or maybe a Christmas party 2016. Who knows?
Wow.
Yeah, that is a rum and Coke. Or a Jack and Coke, excuse me. It's already working. I already forgot what I'm drinking. Not bad.
4% ABV.
I'm a lightweight. What are you going to do?
Drink 2 of those and nobody will even know you did anything.
It'll be our little secret.
It'll be your little secret.
Oh, boy. Anybody else? Am I drinking alone tonight?
No, I've got an Elysian Contact Hazy IPA.
Oh,
It's
wow.
pretty good. It's pretty good. I like it.
That sounds fancy, Brad.
Yeah, I get fancy sometimes.
You're the king of the fancy beers around here, and I respect that.
I'm a little lad who loves his fancy beers.
Berries and cream.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Anybody else before we jump into this thing?
I might huff this canned compressed air duster later, but for right now, I'm good.
When you hear John hit the floor, you will know that he did it.
Let the Johnnies hit the floor.
Johnny's hit the floor.
Yeah, you weren't the only one.
1992, Muppet Christmas Carol. So the main thing to know going into this film is that it's the first Muppet thing that they produced after Jim Henson passed away in 1991, I want to say. 1991, 1992. 1990, rather.
1990, yeah.
Yeah. And, like, if I'm being honest, watching it this time, like, knowing a lot of the context around it, like, this really does just kind of feel like a eulogy for Jim Henson, doesn't it?
It's a bit of a mood.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing because I've actually been watching a bunch of the channel Defunct Land on YouTube lately. And they have,
nice.
Yeah, and they have some series about, like, TV shows and shit, and they have a bunch of, like, videos about Jim Henson and the Muppets and Muppet properties. And there were definitely, some deep dives into, like, his death and how that affected everyone as well. And that was very rough to recall, like, watching this movie again.
Yeah, like, knowing about it now, it's kind of hard to watch it and not see that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh,
whoa,
cat
what
fight.
was that?
Whoa.
Oh, those are our co-hosts.
Yeah, that was Lindsay and Lucy interacting.
The show cats are not happy tonight.
No, they are not.
There's the comfy
boy.
pillow, and whoever gets the comfy pillow, God help the other cat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, then just get 2 comfy pillows.
I thought it was all the silver spray paint and plastic chains that you put all over them. They didn't actually do
Yes.
that. That's a Marley and Marley reference. We don't advocate for animal cruelty here on Christmas Creeps.
It is cruel, you're right, though, that we don't have more than one of that pillow for them to lie on.
That's true. Just one. It's Thunderdome. 2
Yeah.
cats enter and 1 cat leave.
Because the other one's laying on the pillow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, spin the wheel, make a deal. So
It's a bit of a mood, this movie. So you
Yeah,
don't really need a plot. If you're familiar with the broad strokes of A Christmas Carol, The Christmas Carol, A Christmas Carol,
you fucker.
yeah. Okay, that one. If you're familiar with that, it's pretty much beat for beat. It is actually very faithful to the source material.
Yeah, I think most of Michael Caine's stuff, if not... I mean, not all of it, but a good portion of it is probably verbatim from the book, I think.
I would almost say to a fault, it's faithful to the source material.
I mean, would you say it's too faithful?
I personally feel it's a little too faithful.
Really?
I feel like we don't get enough, and I guess we're getting into this already.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I feel that the whole like sort of Muppet angle doesn't really get a whole lot of room to stretch its legs because it's so faithful to the source material.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. So the whole Muppet thing is sort of framed around. So Gonzo is playing Charles Dickens, and his sidekick
Rizzo the Rat.
Rizzo the Rat, who I keep wanting to call Ratso Rizzo, even though I know that's Dennis Hoffman's character from Midnight Cowboy. And apparently that's literally who they named the character after. So I'm not
Yes.
far
Oh,
off.
I'm sure, yeah.
Yes, they did.
But but so Rizzo is playing himself. He's the only character in this that is credited as playing himself.
Yes.
And they are basically our narrators throughout this entire thing, doing lots of the Muppet shtick, kind of coming and going.
Our comic relief when things start getting kind of heavy.
And they're the only Muppet thing going on in this, other than a little bit of like Miss Piggy as Emily Cratchit.
Right,
You know?
character that otherwise really doesn't exist.
They're all playing these characters in A Christmas Carol, and they're all playing them pretty straight, for better and for worse.
Yeah, every once in a while, Animal or the Swedish Chef will show up and just do their shtick, but it's over and gone so quickly.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're gonna get into this now. Am I crazy for thinking that the movie's better for that, for like not leaning into the Muppet stuff so much? Because I really appreciate that.
I'm of two minds about it.
You
Let
could
me
have had
put
a
it
little
this-
more room for Michael Caine to get a little silly.
Maybe.
It needed a few more. It didn't need to be wacky. It just needed a little bit more
Levity.
yeah, and especially letting Michael Caine, who's a pretty funny guy, do funny stuff.
Yeah. On the whole, up until the end, I mean, this is primarily just A Christmas Carol. It's kind of a downer until the end, really, because it's just Scrooge, 50 minutes of Scrooge realizing how much he sucks as he needs to. But yeah, I don't know. I think the fact that they played it so straight makes it, because you have like 10 other Muppet movies that are manic and silly. Maybe there's room for one that can.
Yeah,
one
because
that,
I think the movie I'm thinking about wanting is actually Muppet Treasure Island.
Yeah, Muppet Treasure Island is too zany.
Yeah,
if you will.
I was gonna say like that one kind of leans too far in the other direction.
That kind of went overcorrect, and I remember not caring for that when I was little too.
To the point where like I watched these three, this one, Christmas Carol and Treasure Island, and then the one that follows that, Muppets from Space, fairly recently. And I realized that Muppets from Space I appreciate more for just plain being a Muppet movie and not having any like, oh, we're adapting this story or that story. It's like, no, it's just the Muppets being silly, and that's fine.
Well, that's why the first three ones are the best ones.
Oh, of course, yeah. But like, I guess I'm just saying Muppets from Space has something that these other two don't, because it's not trying to be beholden to like a classic story. You know?
And that's why I feel it maybe is a detriment. But again, maybe there's enough space for this weird one-off kind of subdued, buttoned up, if you will, Muppet movie.
It was very, very heartfelt.
Yeah. I think I'm not saying it's a bad movie by any measure. I'm just saying, as far as like Muppetness, there's certainly more. A bunch of the other films are sort of lean more into the Muppet angle.
Yeah, the characters that are busy playing actual characters, they don't get much time to do Muppety shit.
Yeah, let's put it this way: if you came here just for the Muppets, you're gonna walk away disappointed. But if you came to watch a good movie, welcome.
If for some reason you're a huge Rizzo fan, you're gonna come away from this being very entertained.
You're gonna be very happy about that.
It's weird how like the '90s Muppet movies kind of became this weird like Gonzo Rizzo trilogy, because they're all three about just those two characters.
I don't think I've seen the other ones. I just had this one, so I just saw it a million times.
Like Muppet Treasure Island is like Gonzo and Rizzo and Jim Hawkins are like the main characters of that story. And then Muppets from Space is all about Gonzo finding out where he came from. Like, it's all like the 90s were all Gonzo all the time.
Oh, hell yeah.
One thing I'll say is that out of the kind of the main like core of the Muppets, Gonzo's probably the best one to cast in a primary role like that, just because I couldn't see any other character being like the narrator, any other Muppet being the narrator, just because their voices are just too what they are, compared to Gonzo, who sounds relatively, like, I don't want to say normal, but yeah, normal.
He's just a dude.
Yeah, because, I mean, you don't want to put Kermit in that role because you want to see Kermit in the thick of things, you know?
Right.
It's like
Gonzo, yeah.
It's like having Carl Sagan read the fucking Christmas Carol to you.
Yeah, you can't have Kermit talking the entire time because you're just going to get distracted by the fact that it's fucking Kermit the Frog voice.
Yeah.
Or Fozzie Bear or what have you.
Right.
Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. That's my Carl Sagan, I'm sorry.
It sounds kind of like a Rod Serling, to be honest. You were a little bit of like Twilight Zone intro there.
Yeah.
Marley was dead to begin with.
And let any Muppet be the narrators. Marley was dead to begin with, and so will I be if the story doesn't pick up. Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Dr. Teeth is going to be narrating
my
the
God.
Christmas Carol.
Real quick before we like discuss about this anymore, should we just give a quick like rundown of what a Christmas Carol is? I don't know. How many Christmas carols have we done on here?
In the beginning, the murder was dirt.
Jesus
But we've only ever covered one other Christmas Carol, and it was the
Bah Humduck.
Bah Humduck, the Looney Tunes one. Which
Oh boy.
we at the time we decided that was the worst adaptation we could have possibly found.
It was so bad.
And J-Man kind of nailed the plot down through cultural osmosis. So if you really want a good recap of that, we'll put that in the show notes. But yeah, I mean, Ebenezer Scrooge is your classic sort of piece of shit character.
He's a cranky old fucking moneylender who doesn't know how to love people, I guess.
Yeah, and it's Christmas Eve, and like the spirit of his dead partner, Jacob Marley, in this film's case, Jacob and Robert Marley, because it's funny because Bob Marley.
Yes.
Which I was always confused why they never cashed that joke out more.
I don't know, but I would also like to point out that we have the two Marleys because they are played by, Fantastic Muppets, Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Some favorites around here.
But I mean, just the idea of like you're gonna name Marley anything, like obviously it's Bob Marley.
Right.
Where do you go with that joke? I don't know. But the spirit of the Marleys tell Scrooge that he is going to be visited by 3 spirits that are going to try to save his soul, because if not, he is doomed to be, chained down with, his the sins of his greed for all eternity, or whatever.
He's going to
That would be
HE
bad.
double hockey sticks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Going to the home for infinite losers.
So yeah, he's visited by the ghost of Christmas past, where he sees his childhood and how he's kind of squandered it, and his young adulthood and how love passed him by. Aw, sad. And
Right.
then he's visited by the ghost of Christmas present, where he sees how wonderful it is that people celebrate Christmas and the things that people do.
And they all talk
Yeah.
talk shit about him.
They talk mad shit about him.
And it's magical and wonderful. But also
Yeah.
he sees the Cratchit family. Bob Cratchit, his a long-suffering clerk whose family has basically nothing because Scrooge doesn't pay him enough. And Tiny Tim, who may or may not die, depending on how Scrooge's fortunes change.
Yes, his Bob Cratchit's young son, who is very ill.
Played by Robin in this adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Bob Cratchit's young cousin Robin. Right? Because Robin is Kermit's cousin. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Whatever.
don't overthink it.
I have to. It's what I do. Yeah, and then the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, Christmas Future, shows Scrooge, a grave that may or may not be his, and how everybody loves the fact that this guy's finally kicked the bucket. And Scrooge realizes, yes, I can change. Of course I can, because I don't want to end up an unloved, body in a hole in the ground. And God bless us, everyone. Superman saves the day. You know the story. I don't need to recount this whole tale nuts and bolts, but
I mean, you just told the whole thing, so yeah.
I did. I'm not going to apologize.
Running around
now.
going like "Merry Christmas, movie house," girl.
You're not getting paid by the word like Dickens was, so we
No.
got it.
Also, this story was Dickens working through some shit because he more or less based... Scrooge is basically him being like, oh my god, am I going to turn out like my dad?
Oh, yeah.
Because his dad was like a guy who was obsessed with money, but also really fucking bad at it. And
the classic.
Dickens, when he was young, had to sell his shit to help pay for his dad's debt, and then he had to go work in the explosion factory, whatever the fuck you sent Victorian children to.
The fireworks factory?
Yes.
We'll get there.
Severed Arms Factory.
The severed arms factory.
Yeah, the tuberculosis bottling plant.
Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah. They
Good night,
cast
everybody.
A bunch of Good night, everybody. So there's a mixture of humans and Muppets, as is common in Muppet movies. We've already noted that Scrooge is played by Michael Caine. That's the main one. Most of the rest of the primary cast is played by Muppets. There's some humans mixed in, mostly as featured extras or extras.
Yeah, notably, Scrooge's nephew and his wife are humans.
Inexplicably, because you could have gotten some Muppets for that.
Yeah, I mean, you could have... maybe. You could have made Dr. Teeth his nephew. Why not?
Maybe that'd be a little too
Holy
weird.
shit.
I don't know.
Dr.
they
Teeth
kinda-
and
they-
Janice are his nephew and his wife.
Oh my god.
I think
Please,
Scooter would be a good
yes.
fit for his nephew.
You know what? Yeah,
Because-
there you go.
Because I guess it's not all, because there were humanoid Muppets in this, because Beaker and Dr.
Honeydew.
Bunsen?
Honeydew
Oh, okay.
show up. And they're humanoid Muppets, but they're the only humanoid Muppets that I can think of. Well, other than the spirits.
Right.
Which are
We should talk
arguably
about the
human.
spirits, because that's where the real fun of the story is to me.
This movie is real creepily shot for a kids movie in a lot of places.
What people like to say now, it goes hard.
It goes hard, yes.
We get some like leftovers of Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal going on here a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Ghost of Christmas Past is this like floating
Weird
orb
baby
child
head.
with
Yeah.
with like a floating veil in like a giant white light, and it looks like what I imagine you see when you die.
Like her face looks kind of like a Dark Crystal Muppet, but like she's real like blurry and like kind of out of focus too. So yeah, she's just like real creepy looking.
Yeah, it's almost to the level of like biblically accurate angels if they just added a couple like wings with eyes on them and you're be there.
They
much.
made her look a little more humanoid, but yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also kind of perfect too, because like she's like the past is supposed to be kind of hazy, and you're not quite sure what it's supposed to. You don't like quite remember what it looks like.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I guess that makes sense. It works. One of my favorite Muppet cameos is in that sequence where we meet Sam Eagle was Scrooge's
Yes.
schoolmaster.
Always a good cameo.
Sam Eagle might be my favorite Muppet, and I don't know what that says about me.
It's very good.
He just has a very strong face and features.
Well, I just like that he's like the one Muppet who has like no time for any of the other Muppet shit.
Always and forever.
Right.
Like,
and
Yes.
such that he has to be like reminded of his line during this scene.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yet he has nowhere better
Little
to
bit
be, so he
fourth wall
always
breaking.
has to be part of the production.
Yeah.
He likes to think he's better than the rest, but he's not.
But he's really not. Like I still like my favorite line in any Muppet movie is I think the second one, the Muppet Caper, where they're all in like this like apartment building, and Sam Eagle walks out of a door and just says, "You are all weirdos," and then walks
Yes.
back out.
Yes. At the Happiness Hotel.
Yes.
At the end of the musical number, he comes out, he's like, "You are all weirdos." And then he just goes back into his room. Oh, God.
Underrated.
Muppet Caper is my favorite Muppet movie, so I'm just gonna put that on the table.
Yeah, well, it's a good one. I enjoy it.
Speaking of good gags, there's some good, like, I was kind of talking it down earlier, but there's some good bits here. My favorite gag in the entire movie, I think, is an ad-lib, where it's just Gonzo and Rizzo, and they're outside of a building, and Gonzo just turns to Rizzo in misbelief of something that just happened, and Rizzo just leans in and kisses him on the nose.
Oh yeah,
I love that one so much.
It's so good.
It's so good. I love it. He just goes.
My favorite Rizzo bit in this is when they're looking in on the counting house at the beginning, and the window is so dirty that Gonzo takes Rizzo and just wipes it clean with him. And Rizzo just says, "Thank you for making me a part of this."
Yeah.
Thank you for including me in the fun. I appreciate that.
That is funny. I was like reading the Wikipedia article about this earlier, which is like the only research I did, and it mentioned Rizzo specifically employing the role of like the Greek chorus.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like that. It's like, thanks for including me in your narrative here.
Oh boy!
When I saw the cat that was chasing Rizzo around, all I could think about was Smarf from Too Many Cooks.
Yeah, me too.
No.
It did look like Smarf, didn't it?
There were some other Muppets in here from like other like weird Henson projects that I'd only noticed this time around. Like, like early on, very beginning of the film, you see Sprocket from Fraggle Rock. Like coming out of a window. And I just started watching Fraggle Rock again on Apple TV, and I gotta say, that show is delightful.
It's a good one.
There's apparently a new Fraggle Rock, and I don't know if you can recapture that magic, my dudes.
Because we have to remake everything from like young Gen Xers to like millennials' childhoods. It's just that time right now.
It's all we have left, apparently.
Yeah, we just have to remake and try to capture everything because we live in this hell.
Oh man, yeah, I guess it's true. But like, but also from the Muppet Family Christmas, which we did do an episode on a while back, we get the snowman from that short,
and the turkey,
and Fozzie's mother is back. Fozziewig's mother, rather.
Yes, he's Fozziewig in this movie.
And I think some of the other, like some of the cats and stuff, are from those other 80s Christmas shorts. The Muppet fans out there will probably let us know in the comments what we're missing out on. But yeah, I appreciate that. Like they keep taking these like one-off characters that they come up with, and they just, well, we've still got the puppet. Why don't we just jam it in here? I mean, we've got the space, we got the time. Let's do it. And so then
cost-cutting measure and a fun fan thing.
Yeah, it's a fun little Easter egg, and also we get to pay one of the puppeteers extra.
Yeah,
and it's nice and it's also nice at the very end when you get the whole like all the Muppet performers together and you see all of the puppets, then they're all acting them out at the same time. It's just nice to have a huge room full of puppets.
Right.
Yes.
It's fun.
So one good thing about Disney owning everything is Yoda can hang out with the Muppets now, right?
Theoretically,
yeah.
So Frank Oz can hang out with himself?
Yes. So Frank Oz can play with himself and everybody can watch.
One hand in each puppet.
Oh, God.
I mean, they did do the Haunted Mansion thing like last year, so they're already starting to lean into that cross whatever.
That's true.
It's not going to be too much longer before we have Muppet parodies of other Disney stuff.
I mean, yeah, because they're still trying to figure out what the hell to do with the Muppets at this point, and it's honestly kind of sad to see them flail around this much with like what should be a slam dunk property. The Haunted Mansion thing I thought was actually really great, but more stuff like that, please.
Here, I'll give you a freebie, Disney. Shot for shot remake of Star Wars, but with Muppets.
There you go.
I mean, all they really need to do is take that meme that circulates online sometimes where it's like, recreate a movie where everybody is a Muppet except for one person, and just actually do that literally.
Just
do Empire Strikes Back and Yoda is the only human in it.
Oh, hell yes.
Or, like, they need to take what the South Park guys were going to do with Team America and just like remake a big budget movie but with puppets. Because like that movie was supposed to be The Day After Tomorrow, but with puppets, and I guess at the last minute they backed out on that. So like Disney should just take some like big upcoming big blockbuster movie and just remake it with Muppets. Like Muppet Uncharted, let's do that.
Or maybe even old stuff, because they own Alien now too, because they own everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Shot for shot remake of the original Alien, and
except the alien was played by a human.
I was gonna say everybody except for Sigourney Weaver, but okay.
I think you were gonna say Jonesy was a human,
including the xenomorph. The xenomorph clearly has to be made out of felt. It has to be as non-threatening as possible as you can make while still being somewhat accurate to the model.
But it still spits out the acid blood.
Acid blood, but then when it has the extra mouth that comes out, it has to have googly eyes on it.
Oh, hell yeah.
So the xenomorph is Fozzie just trying to make his jokes work.
Waka waka.
Wait a minute. No, the secondary mouth, the mouth opens up and the second mouth pops out, but it's just Rizzo.
It's just a hand.
Okay, that too.
It's just the Muppeteer's hand.
Anyhow.
Or even, what would have been better than the fucking Home Alone reboot that we got? Muppet Home Alone.
Yeah.
And have the two burglars be the humans. There. Boom.
There's so much stupid violence with Muppets.
Yeah, see also the Happy Time murders.
Yeah, what if the Happy Time murders, but actually good and worth watching?
Brian Henson made that, didn't he?
I think so. I think somebody
he at least in some way signed off on it. I think.
Yeah,
he's in some way
that was a
with
marketing angle for that.
You know what they really need to do? They just need to rehire Frank Oz. Because there was an interview I read with him a few months ago where he was talking about the fact that he's constantly waiting for them to give him the call to come back to do Muppets, and they're just not calling him. For whatever reason, they don't want him involved anymore, and that's just sad.
It is.
Yeah, Frank Oz is one of the most iconic Muppeteers.
Yeah, at this point, he's the guy. He would be the guy.
Old guard still. Maybe that's why they're not calling him. I guess
that's why they don't. I'm gonna say that's why they don't want him, because no, you don't want the guy that actually knows what the fuck to do, because then he's gonna want money or credit or something, and God forbid that.
If you give a Muppeteer a Muppet, he's gonna want to use it.
Yes.
There's a children's book for you. My favorite Muppet anything in this movie, to get us back on some kind of a track here, is the Ghost of Christmas Present. The giant, humanoid Muppet that's clearly just a guy in a suit. And he's
big, he's big Father Christmas.
Hagrid.
Yeah.
He's basically, redhead Hagrid. Yeah. But he's just a big, lovable, just doofus, and I love him.
He's just this guy,
He's jolly.
He's jolly. He's just this guy. And the song that he sings, wherever you find love, it feels like Christmas. It's a wonderful song. I was already down earlier about the Marley song, but most of the songs in this I really love.
Yeah.
In particular, this one. And hey, I did an entire podcast about that on my other show, OST Party, where we just talked about Muppet songs. So if you want to listen to that, we'll put that in the show notes too.
Nice little cross promo there.
Oh, slam dunk.
Always.
And I'm going to regurgitate some of those facts here too. So,
please.
The songs in Muppet Christmas Carol were done by Paul Williams, who also did the songs for the original Muppet movie. And the only reason that he wasn't involved in any of the subsequent ones between the first one and this one is because apparently he spent most of the 80s drugged out of his mind. He basically partied hard throughout the entire 80s and had no creative energy for anything else.
Right.
But then
as you do in the 80s.
Like you do, most people do. But apparently what happened was he was in rehab when Jim Henson passed away, or near that time period, that time frame. And right after getting out of rehab, he got the call from the Muppet Company to ask him if he wanted to do songs for the Muppet Christmas Carol. He was so over the moon with this offer that he took it super dead seriously. And if knowing that, then listening back to these songs, I really hear a lot of these songs as being a guy working through a 12-step program, trying to apologize for his shitty behavior, hey, just like Ebenezer Scrooge. And like when you view it through that lens, it's kind of like oh god, this movie went to a really real place.
Yeah,
but I actually appreciate it more
real.
for that.
Very
I don't know.
Interesting. I didn't know.
I like it. Yeah,
It works.
Especially the Scrooge song at the end, the Thankful Heart song. Like that is definitely like a guy going around to everybody that he knows and saying, "Look, I know I screwed up. I know I'm a huge piece of shit. Please forgive me."
Yeah, and there was a deleted song. It was Jeffrey Katzenberg made them delete it, from what I read. That was, I guess it was Scrooge's wife singing about why she was leaving him. Or was it Scrooge singing? It was one or the other. The other song was called like it was Owner of a Lovely Heart by Yes.
they just went into like a prog rock breakdown.
You know what? Trevor Horn could have probably written some pretty good Muppet songs. I'll just say it.
No, but it was like a foil or whatever you want to call it to the Thankful Heart song. It was something about like lonely or empty heart.
Right.
I think it's on the sound. I saw something about that on the soundtrack.
Yeah,
so
there was
ended up
quite
on
a few
the
deleted
soundtrack.
songs on the soundtrack.
Yeah, supposedly they were going to like restore that song to the movie, to the version that's on Disney Plus, but when I watched it the other night, it definitely was not in there.
It's on Disney Plus, but it's under like extras.
Oh, so it's on there, but it's not really on there. It's on there, but it's not
cut
in
into
there.
the movie.
I mean, and I'll at least, I don't know if there are other Disney Plus things with that, but if Disney Plus wants to use extras to put like DVD features and shit back on streaming, like I'll give them credit for at least that.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of into that whole thing. Like I noticed this is really stupid and it kind of has no purpose, but like a lot of the Marvel movies they're putting on there now, you can watch them in like the regular theatrical or the IMAX aspect ratios.
Just in case you have an IMAX.
In case you have a
equivalent set up
giant
at home.
square IMAX screen in your house. Yes. Like, there's no purpose for it, but I appreciate that they went through that effort.
Look, they bothered to code the choosing between widescreen and 4:3 for Simpsons, so they may as well repurpose it for something else.
I mean, if they're gonna give me IMAX, they're basically telling me to open my own movie theater. I mean, that sounds like Disney's giving me consent to screen these movies for my own profit.
Yeah, I mean, why would they do otherwise?
Just get a fucking projector and just set it up on the side of your house.
Yeah.
Play
So-
some
Hey,
movies.
private property. Everybody come on in. I'm not making any money off of this.
So we watched this on the Disney Plus app on PS4, and the way I had to find this movie was I had to just scroll through all of the rolls until I found any Muppet movie, and then it was in the related movies, because I could not find for the life of me, maybe I'm just an idiot, I could not find for the life of me on the Disney Plus PS4 app where to find a fucking search bar.
Yeah, that's weird because the PS5 app, like the search bar is like right on top.
Yeah, there was like nothing on the app except for like just the lists, like the horizontal, like here's this title, here's like the what's new and like different genres and shit like that. That's just an aside, though.
Or then like you'll go to the very bottom where you see like the different franchise branches. Like you'll go to the Star Wars section or the Marvel section, or I guess there's a Muppet section. I hope there is.
The way I found it was I eventually went to 90s movies and just looked for like Muppet Treasure Island until I found that, and just it was a related movie on there.
Go to all movies and then filter it to alphabetical and just like click until you get to it.
Yeah.
When Disney Plus first came out, that's what I did. Like I just went alphabetical through everything just to see what they had, and I wasted a good like hour and a half just looking and doing nothing.
I mean, I could see one of these fucking like streaming services do that shit though. Of just like, no, there's actually no way to actually sort through all the shit we have. All it is like there's no typing. It's literally made for a kid to just keep engaging with on a tablet. Basically, of just like, no, you click a thing, it plays, and then it just starts playing more shit, and you can't control it.
Yeah, I mean that's basically how Netflix works.
Remember when you could like watch movies on Netflix?
What are movies?
Yeah.
They're like it's like a TV show, except it's like a long episode and there's only one of them.
Is there a cooking competition involved? Because if not, I don't care.
There is in that one movie.
Go on. Tell me about this movie.
Yeah, what movie?
Billy Madison, he cooks a shoe.
So hey, how about that Charles Dickens?
Oh boy.
See, this is kind of a tough episode for us because like we're all in kind of an agreement. Like, yeah, of course it's pretty good. I would make the case that it's great, but
I love it. I
to
think
each
it's
their
great.
own. Yeah, and I definitely get where Brad's coming from, where like it's pretty much just a straight Dickens adaptation with a little bit of Muppet flavor to it, and that's fine.
But at the end of the day, you could do a lot worse. As we've
I
seen
wonder
with
how
Bah Humda.
much of that is influenced by it just being the first thing without Jim as well.
Yeah,
Of just like they're just kind of like we don't want to get too weird with this because we're paying respects to both Jim Henson and was it Richard Hunt?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that makes sense. Like you don't want to shake things up too terribly much, but also you want to be respectful.
Yeah.
And I think in that instant, that respect, they do it pretty well.
I think if you would have made this in like '88, it would have been just absolute goofball.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Give
I
it
thought
to me.
It was really good though because they had Gonzo and Rizzo there basically, like I said earlier, as your comic relief. So like when it started to get really like kind of heavy and real, then they would show up and do something silly and kind of lighten it back up. So it made it a little easier for kids, I think.
Yeah, and you get like each character does do like their bit at least once. Like with Miss Piggy, you have the classic Frank Oz like falsetto drop, and it's very good in this one. Where they're complimenting her on the goose, and she like drops it, and she's like, "Yeah, I know it is."
Yeah.
It's very good.
Oh, that reminded me of near the end of the movie. So, like after Scrooge has had his revelation and he's changed and everything, and he tells this kid to go buy like a huge ass turkey, and goes around town making merry and gathering everyone. Shows up at the Cratchit's house. So they just show up with like a big ass fucking raw turkey. Like, we're just gonna have Christmas dinner now, and then like in the last shot, it's like fully like browned and cooked.
E. coli wasn't invented until like
How
1930.
How long were they there to like roast that entire fucking turkey? That thing was enormous. It looked like it was like 30 pounds.
It's a long party because you probably would have taken like 6 hours to cook that turkey using conventional methods.
They played yes and
Right?
no for 6 hours. Every answer was Ebenezer Scrooge. It was a
No, I was
nightmare.
gonna say everyone has no one knows what to do in yes and no anymore because everyone has to change their fucking tactics because they can't just dunk on Scrooge mercilessly anymore.
Scrooge knows the answer, and it's always him.
They have to relearn how to play the game.
Here's Scrooge. We've invented a new game. It's called charades. You have to use your hands. It's like a baby's toy. Anyway.
Thank you.
What's wrong with me? Oh, man. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else there is to say about this. The other Christmas Carol that I always kind of compare this to is the Disney one from the early 80s, Mickey's Christmas Carol, which does a lot of the same things that this one does, but in like they truncated it all the way down to like 20 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And it's obviously Scrooge is played by Scrooge McDuck, and it fits like an old shoe, but I like to compare these two because they really hit all of the same marks, but the Disney one really doesn't have any songs or any like, I mean, there are funny like shenanigan bits in it because it's a Disney thing, but it's kind of amazing to me that how they can both tell the same story, but one is like significantly shorter than the other. And of course, the
Right.
Disney one leaves out a whole lot of stuff and truncates lots of scenes. But, this is such a like primal, well-known story that you really don't need a lot of the details to make it work. And I don't know where I'm going with this. So I'm just going to say, don't watch the Mickey's Christmas Carol that's on Disney Plus because this is like the turbo nerd section of my brain clicking on. It's from the 2013 Blu-ray transfer, which is fucking awful and should never be seen by anybody because
Whoa.
like they like transferred it into HD and they blew it out so much that it just looks like a smeary blob. Like the animation looks terrible. And
that sucks.
like I'm actively like angry that Disney fucked it up that bad.
You would think that for such a big media company, they would have, like, archivists and librarians that care about this sort of thing, but I guess not. You know?
Yeah, apparently not. Like, the other thing that happened recently was the Pirates of the Caribbean, the first movie came out on 4K Blu-ray, and apparently that transfer is terrible, too. And, like, there's really no accounting for, like, quality control there because, like, really, who cares about DVDs anymore, you know? And I think that's like Disney's reckoning is like, well, nobody cares. So if we just put it out and it makes a little bit of money, you know, fine.
I mean, that's basically like they just care about the bottom line. I think that's pretty much it.
Like they're not expecting anybody to notice or care
right.
if they messed it up. And if they do, you know, who's going to say something?
Yeah, call me cynical, but I think Disney cares more about money than they do about the entertainment they put out.
What? No. No.
They care more about making the Book of Boba Fett than making the Book of Boba Fett good.
Exactly.
There, I said it.
Do I need to bother caring about that?
No.
No.
Okay,
no, you
good.
don't. Listen, they stopped caring after about 5 episodes, and it just became season 3 of The Mandalorian anyway.
Do I need to care about that?
No.
You don't. It's not bad, but you don't.
Here's the beauty of it. You don't have to care about any of it.
Hell yeah. I will say, I know a lot of people are, like, way into Disney, and, I mean, I grew up with, like, Disney movies and stuff, but I have never been, like, a big Disney person, because I think it's mostly just because my family, you know, other than the few, like, films I talked about that I had as a kid, like, on VHS, like, we didn't really do movies that much, so.
Right.
Everybody knows that video games are objectively better, so... There you have it.
Right, yeah, I played a shitload of games, so there's that.
It's the one industry that Disney hasn't really been able to crack yet.
Oh, God. Bite your fucking tongue. I can't imagine.
There's Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, but still. That's more of an Enix joint still.
That's true.
I mean, yeah. But anyways, heaven help us if that were to come to pass.
Heaven forbid. I think we've talked this one out enough, so why don't we go over to the crankometer and stamp this with a score and be on our merry way, shall we?
Yeah.
So the crankometer is our patented XY scale for rating these Christmas movies. The X-axis is the Christmasity scale, how Christmassy a property is, and the Y-axis is the quality quotient, how good the film is. So, gentlemen friends, go ahead and hit me with your first reactions. The Christmas scale, X-axis, how Christmassy is The Muppet Christmas Carol.
5 all the way.
It's like
with Charles Dickens getting paid by the word, but he's probably would kick himself because he's like, I could have had them be Jacob and Robert Marley, and then I would have gotten 2 extra words every single time I had to name them.
Is that your crankometer score?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd give it like a 3 or a 4. I mean, it can't touch... I'm going to compare it to A Muppet Family Christmas, because of course you have to. There's only one other Muppet Christmas thing, which we haven't done yet. It can't reach that level of, like, sublime, just nailing the feeling of a modern sort of Christmas. Or a, 20th century Christmas, if you will. I guess that was more Muppet Family Christmas's thing. Right. But, I mean, it's kind of a timeless Christmas story. It kind of, the feeling is there. Especially during, like, sort of those musical numbers and such. I'd say, like, a 3, maybe.
I'm good with a 3. Yeah, like, I want to push this to a 4 because I just plain like it too much. But I get where you're coming from. Like, this is, like, where a lot of the Christmas Carol, I mean, is where a lot of our Christmas traditions come from now anyway. And so, like, by definition, it's pretty damn Christmassy. But also, at the same time, like, I understand that this is... not so much what we do anymore.
Victorian London Christmas. I mean, I'm fine with a 4. A 4 is fine too.
Oh yeah. Karen, J-Man?
I still push for a 5. I will be quite honest.
Okay.
Because it hits all. I mean, it's got. First of all, it's got the super Christmassy trappings, which is not like the main thing for me usually. I think I've said on here before, but it does. But it is. You've got like the holly and like all the fucking Christmassy bullshit. But also it is very like, I don't know, it has like the fucking quintessential like Christmas message. I feel like it's like being with people you love and like taking care of one another and shit like that.
Like we talked about on the Christmas episode last year, there are not too many movies that really, I feel, are like... There's not too many times where I actually say, like, why am I watching this at not Christmas? And this one I did kind of say, like, and I don't need this to its detriment. I mean, this felt so fucking Christmassy that it felt a little weird watching it in February.
It's like if
like
if we were like gonna go like watch A Christmas Story right now. Like
I see
yeah.
what you
that's
mean.
such a classic, but like that movie is like relegated to Christmas time for me.
Yeah, like I could go watch Home Alone right now. I could go watch Die Hard right now. I could probably watch Bad Santa right now. But like Christmas Story and this, it does feel like it'd be a little weird not watching them like in the appropriate
in the season.
And I don't mean that to their detriment. I mean it's just they are just that fucking Christmassy that when you don't have that Christmassy around you in real life, you notice.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that as well.
A 4 then? 4?
I'm
5?
amenable to a 4. Like John says, it's kind of like wishing somebody Happy Halloween in the middle of June.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Which is one of the only fun things about Overwatch, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Oh
is
my
that
God.
every character had like Happy Halloween, Happy Chinese New Year, Happy Birthday. I only played Junkrat, so I just assigned a bunch of buttons to Happy Birthday.
Very good.
Happy birthday. Let me throw some bombs at you.
Yeah, don't give Blizzard and Activision any more money, though.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, no way.
But yeah, I can. I'm cool with a 4.
I'm good with a 4 too.
Yeah.
So yeah, jump straight to the y-axis. Quality. How good is this? I want to push for a 5, but I may be in the minority here.
I think it is better than most things that we watch. I think a 5 is warranted. It's a very good movie.
It's one of the ones that I have begun to like insist on watching every holiday season, and
yeah.
like only in the last few years did it really finally click with me how much I actually enjoyed it. Because like the songs I appreciate, even if I don't really care for like the Marley song too much, or the One More Sleep Till Christmas thing. I'm fine with it, but it became one of those things that like everybody says during the holidays on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, like, oh, X number of sleeps till Christmas, like we do at the beginning of our show, for God's sakes.
Well, we don't say sleeps. The sleep part is what makes it like kind of twee.
Yeah.
A little, yeah.
Someone was saying that in Final Fantasy 14 in the FC chat, and I didn't know where it was from, but it just felt like so fucking like, yeah, just like artificially cute, yeah.
Yeah.
Like okay,
Yeah.
who's been following the Good Housekeeping Facebook page, like that
What?
kind of shit? You know,
okay.
like
I was like, what's going down on
like
there?
which soccer mom did you steal that from? You know,
Yeah.
Right.
It would end up in sort of cursive font on a mass-produced wooden plank that you could buy at Home Goods or something.
above a
Yeah.
picture of a red truck hauling a Christmas tree.
Live,
Right.
laugh, love.
Live, laugh, loaf.
Live, laugh, loaf.
Live, loathe, loaf.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I would go for a 5 quality wise. I mean, it definitely, like, I guess, technically wise, like, it shows its age and stuff, and, like, not everything's perfect, but, like, overall, I think it's really, like, I think it's just, like, a really good adaptation of, a classic story, and,
Yeah, I mean, if anyone
Yeah.
told you that their favorite Christmas movie is Muppet Christmas Carol, you wouldn't argue with them.
yeah.
Yeah, like I totally get it.
It's aged better than some of the other Muppet movies, like Muppet Treasure Island and such, I would say, as well.
I would agree with that. But like as far as the quality of the thing goes, like I think it like being a little dated makes it better because like you can tell it was all done by hand and there was no
It's
CGI
true, yeah.
CGI trickery. Like I know for a fact that like on the Disney Plus version they like CG'd out all of the rods and the wires for all the Muppets so you don't see that shit anymore.
Huh.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And that's a bummer.
That is a bummer.
that's just
Give
I
us an
don't
option
know.
for that.
Someone is basically making themselves a job at Disney Plus of just like fucking with shit for the sake of fucking with shit just to say it's different.
Yeah.
Basically. So what we're saying is this definitely earns itself a +4, +5 on our crankometer, and
I want to argue a 5 by 5.
I mean, like I said, I would push for a 5.5, but like, can we do a 4.55?
No, 5.5.
I mean, I would go for a 4 if it was just me. I'd go for a 4.4, but I'm sort of the odd person out. So let's all give our personal scores, and then whatever has the majority.
We'll average it.
No, not average because we don't do points, but whoever has the majority. So I already said mine. Joe, what would you rate this?
I'm going with a 4.5.
Okay.
I would say 5.5.
Okay, and then
It doesn't work when we have even number of people on here. I go 5.5.
Yeah, we're split in half here.
That still puts us at, if we averaged it, 4.55, but we're not doing points, so I don't know.
We can give it a 4.5. I've just let my thoughts be known on the podcast that it personally for me is a 5.5.
Okay.
A 4 asterisk 5.
Yeah, exactly.
4 dagger 5.
Okay. 4.5 with the potential to be even higher at some later date. Room for
Booker,
improvement.
you know what you got to do. Booker, you can make this right.
Yeah, we'll leave it in your hands, Booker. Whatever
Please,
you want to
Booker.
do.
You're the decider.
Settle this.
And we will only find out what happens in about 10 months. Whoops-a-doodle. Anyway, so yeah, that's going to do it for Christmas Creeps. So if you've enjoyed this show, God bless you, because we're a bunch of hoodlums here. But if you want to send us anything at all, you can tweet at us at Christmas Creeps on Twitter. Email us, xmascreeps@gmail.com. Anything you want. You can leave us questions or comments, anything you want. Go to iTunes or YouTube, where we definitely keep our show up there, and leave us a star rating and a review. Tell folks we're a show worth listening to, because we do this all year round, and a lot of the other Christmas podcasts cannot say that, but we take that as a point of pride. So if you enjoy that, then definitely let people know. Any parting thoughts before we get out of here?
I mean, if you want to send us money, just go to your local mailbox, just throw a handful of change in there. We'll get it eventually.
Tip your postal workers, everybody.
Please.
Well, that's true. You should do that, but that's more of a PSA for November rather than January, or February, but point stands.
They would enjoy it any time of year. I have multiple postal workers in my family, and they would love a nice tip.
Yeah, there you go.
Anytime. They're always working hard.
Yes. Anytime. So, yeah, that's going to do it for Christmas Creeps, folks. I've been Joseph Wade.
I'm Bradford.
I'm Johnny Five, the human robot.
And I'm Tiny Tim.
God bless us, everyone.
Good night, movie house.
Christmas. Happy Christmas.